Great. So
So
I see that we have some friends here. Alida.
Good morning.
Hi.
Yeah.
Good morning. How do I
Good
pronounce
morning.
your name?
Alida.
Alida.
Yes,
Hi,
it's
how are you?
perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah,
Very well.
I'm Shengyuan. I'm Shengyuan.
Hi.
Okay. All right.
so Alida is the master's student that just joined.
Okay. You can hear, all right?
Yes,
Perfect.
it's good. Yeah.
I think.
Can
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So maybe Herman, you can start with a quick, I guess, intro of Alida.
Yeah, so Alida she's a master's student. She finished her BEng degree end of last year, and she contacted me I think a month or two ago saying she was interested in doing a master's. Then we spoke about things like I mean she's interested in machine learning and data analysis. And then I told her a bit about IoT and the spatial web and things like that, and convinced her that looking on spatial technology would be interesting. So yeah, she'll be back on campus next week, I believe, and then she'll be sitting in the media lab and working also on some. I want to see if we can leverage the collaboration with the people from Agritech to see if we can't use that as an application for Leaders Masters. Hello, Victory.
Hi, hello, sir. Hi, Shunyan. Hi, Alida.
Okay. Hi.
Hi.
All right.
Nice
Hi,
to meet you.
Victoria.
I hope I pronounced that right.
So Alida, Victory is a PhD student. He, Shunyan and I have,
Alida.
yeah. He's been working with Shunyan and me for the past year or so, and he's working on actually developing the spatial publish subscribe algorithm.
Okay.
Cool. And
Nice to
everyone
meet you.
knows. And Shunyan, I've known Shunyan since 2010, I believe, when I met him in China at a conference there, at a conference on massive multi-user virtual environments. And Shunyan's expertise is basically in peer-to-peer systems, well, specifically for online games and virtual environments. So I don't know if any of you have read Snow Crash, or it's like I think it's Snow Crash. It's basically a book about virtual reality and the what is it called again? The metaverse.
The metaverse. The metaverse.
Yeah. And this idea that we have a virtual presence somewhere, but anyway, so that, I think that inspired a lot of work that Shunyan has done, and he has been running a company called Immunology for the past couple of years. And
That's 10 years,
so
actually.
So he contacted me about 2 or 3 years ago, and to see if we can strike up some collaboration again, and here we are today. So
Nice.
So thanks for the intro. I think this is the first time Alida joined us. Actually, let me also maybe give a quick, I guess, intro for myself. Okay. So thanks for Herman. Is my voice all right? I mean, is it clear now? Because I see the network is not doesn't appear stable. Is my voice all right?
It's better now.
Okay, let me change. Hold on a second. Okay. Okay. How about now? Is it okay?
Slightly breaking.
How about now? Is it okay?
It is
How
okay now,
is it
yes.
now?
It's good,
Yes.
yes.
Okay, all right. Sorry. I think all right, I probably will set up some, this is a new environment and probably will set up some land. Okay, so I think for Herman's intro, one thing to add is I have been, really interested in how to do agile methodologies, okay? Because I started my company. Sorry, is it clear, my voice now?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, it was to sort of, as Herman said, to build this virtual, metaverse, the infrastructure for it. And what we wanted to do was to help the small developers, game developers, to actually build large systems. But very quickly, we found that, what they want isn't scale, but also how to quickly build things. Okay, you probably know that games are very short in cycles. And usually the smaller players, they are running, short on cash. So if you can do something in 6 months, then don't do it in 1 year. If you can do it in 3 months, then not 6 months, right? So we kind of started to do this agile development methodology. I've been working on it, Scrum and others. And actually, since working with Herman, I think what we have done was try to apply the same approach to doing research. Okay, to see if we can get similar benefits from that. So I guess that's a bit background about myself, which is I'm keen on doing remote work because we believe the metaverse is coming. Okay, and in fact, this COVID thing had almost a negligible minimum impact on us and how I work because this is actually my life, has been my life in the last 10 years of doing remote works with teams distributed in different places. And the second thing is how to do things in an agile way. Okay, so I guess that's the background. All right, but for today, this is called the Mastermind session. Okay, and oh yeah, and Alida, just for your information, usually we will record the whole thing. Okay, is that all right? Okay, I mean, this is, you can
Perfect.
look at it later, okay, if you find it useful. But what we like to do in this what's called Mastermind is to basically you might have known there's a way to look at your time and task, okay, using 4 quadrants, which on one dimension is the important, and unimportant. And the other axis might be the urgent and not urgent, right? So you can categorize things into like important and urgent. That's usually where we spend most time, hopefully. Okay. And there's also the things that's unimportant, not urgent, like just chilling out. And although that could be important sometimes, okay. But the thing is, because we are all, now busy, a lot of the ways doing work and different things, but it's important to set some time out, periodically to do some review, reflection, and thinking. Okay, so this is what the mastermind is about, which is, so when working with Herman, I propose that we should have something like this at least once a month, okay, to basically to share about what we have learned and maybe to share one challenge that we're facing right now, in life or work, and can seek each other's feedback. Okay, so it's called a mastermind session. I don't know if you've heard of this, but there are different ways that you can run a quote unquote mastermind. This is just one of the ways, but this is what we have sort of found to work and has been effective. Okay, and usually in a mastermind, people have some shared goals, okay, and values. For example, like here in this group, probably we all want to get some good research done, right? At least I know that's probably what Herman's job is professionally, and Victoria will need that, and so are you to maybe get to graduation. So we want to get some good research done, right? but also in a effective, positive manner, right? So, you know, you don't really like stay up late at nights and, you know, like work too hard, but not getting results, right? We want to work smart, work effectively. So I think that could be like the common goal that we all share here. And as long as we have a common goal and we're willing to share our experiences, our feedback to each other, that can form an effective mastermind. Okay, and in fact, a lot of the things in the past, great things came out from mastermind. Like United States, in fact, started as a group of people doing masterminds on a regular basis. And then they just started off a revolution. That's how a lot of the things came to be. He actually really just started from a small group of people doing gatherings. Yeah. All right, so I think that's enough of a background. So for today, I think we have 4 people, right? So I think what we'll do is, I think probably, I don't know, 10 minutes for each. Armin, do you think that will work? 10 minutes, including Alida, right? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I think, okay, although you're new, but you know, you can experience how this. So I think 10 minutes each person, and just, I guess, maybe share one thing that you have sort of learned or gained in the past month. Okay. And I think it can be either work or life. Okay, depends on your, or maybe if you like, you can share one in each. Okay. And then one thing that kind of relates to your next goal, for example, next month, or okay, or at the moment, but something that you feel you might want some feedback for. Okay, that you feel that the current group may be able to provide some helpful feedback. Okay, so one thing. All right. So that's the format. Okay, and we'll do this in a, you know, wrong fashion, and I will keep the time. Okay, and in the end we will do some wrap up. Okay, so that's pretty much how this hour will go. All right. So is everybody clear? And is it okay? Okay, Alida, all right? Is that clear? Okay, all right. So anybody would like to start first?
So I'll go again.
Okay, all right, okay.
That might help Elida to also see what the kind of expectation is.
Yes,
so I
please.
guess the one thing, yeah. So Elida, so this mastermind is kind of you can think about it as a peer support type of setup. So the idea is to share things which will hopefully help each other in reaching the goals that we have. Yeah, I think for me again was, I mean, last time we spoke about having a morning routine and basically have a good habit and idea of what it is that you want to achieve. I actually got that that habits book that you spoke about last time, Shunyun. I got a copy of that and started reading that. And then I started making a point of, in the morning before all the disruptions started, to actually do a proper planning and, you know, make certain I have a list of what is the important things that I want to achieve today and start doing those. And I found that works really well. Starting the day with the plannings of what you want to achieve, starting the week with planning what you want to achieve that week. That really helps in deciding what's the important stuff and what's not the important stuff. And it also sometimes helps to see the things that wasn't important 4 weeks ago, but because you haven't gotten to it, now it starts to become important again. So that, I think, has been a gain for me, or something which I've learned is actually quite useful and does actually work quite well. And it doesn't take a lot of time. You just need to do it every day. Then I think for me, one of the challenges is making, I mean, with Alida joining us, and I have a mechatronic final year student that will also be doing a proof of concept with the Raspberry Pis and the spatial IoT. I think, you know, there is some more momentum going in the spatial web technology. But I think the challenge now is to basically think more, to a more long-term planning of where is it we want to reach, and what are the different components that we need to develop in order to have a system that would be useful that we can basically publish and put on some website, to develop an open source library that people will use, and that this spatial publish PubSub will be more generally adopted by the community. I think that's that's a challenge for me, and I know we should start at the end, but yeah, I guess that's still a bit of a challenge for me.
Okay, all right. So thanks for sharing. So Herman basically shared about the morning routines and has been positive. Okay, and also the good to hear that. And also the seems like the question you want to ask is how we can develop some, I guess, approach to not just do works for the long term, but also develop into maybe open source libraries. Is that what you're like? Okay, all right, okay, good. So I guess any feedback on this? Anyone can just share your thoughts and feedbacks?
I think the only thing that sort of comes to mind is maybe I'm going to take a playbook out of Shinyan's words. I mean, where he says, you want to ask the question, what does the perfect scenario look like in terms of the plan in the big picture? What does your what do you see the ideal scenario look like in terms of the API? And then sort of work down from there. And then, okay, they can start identifying the components and say, this is necessary, this block is necessary. And then you sort of begin to get a mind map of what's required, what's not required. And before you know it, you have the project complete, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to add to that. That's a good, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think that's a very, very good comment that you make. If I can perhaps just add to, I think one of the other challenges I think is also about how do you get the community, how do you grow the community? How do you get a community to adopt something like this? Or, so if you think about it, Alida and Victory, if you look at a library that you download, what is the thing that makes you use it and use it further? And what is the thing that you try it out once and then, you don't use it further anymore? I mean, so if I can tack that onto my original challenge.
If you don't mind me adding to this. So I'm going to bring a bit of the marketing background, not great marketing background, but so I think one thing you want is to first sort of draw out a comms plan, a communication plan, basically. And when I say communication plan, you basically have a calendar, and then you're saying, okay, in this month, I want to showcase this, right? And then once you have that comms plan, you want to identify your communications channels. Like, okay, you want to advertise to graduates, you want to advertise in conferences, for example. You want to show, fellow colleagues, for example, and maybe even show it on the university's website and say, okay, on this day, I'm going to do, some sort of evangelizing. I'm going to showcase this work and ask for people to contribute. But then my point is, of course, this is a very broad picture now, but the idea is with the comms plan, the idea is to have, if you have a communications plan on a calendar, basically, and you're saying, this is what I want people to do, and these are the channels I want to send the message through, and then gauge the feedback, basically, and then sort of take it from there.
Cool. Well, that helps.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
Thanks. Yeah, I think that's actually quite. Any feedbacks from the Alida? I don't know much about your background, but I guess any thoughts to Herman's question, and I guess the challenge
yet.
he's facing.
Yes. Maybe not yet.
Okay. Okay, it's fine, it's fine. But I mean, can you understand Herman's situation and question about one, I guess, bringing students on board, you know, and have them, and also to perhaps produce something useful that can be adopted by, okay.
Definitely, because my background is a bit different so I focus more on machine learning in my undergrad. So having to jump into this and kind of learn most of this from the start, it's very interesting to be, because obviously it's a way for people to be shown in a different direction, I want to say, in the sense that because I know nothing, my normal is going to be to focus on what Arman wants to put out. So that would be my normal, that would be what I'm used to. So that's why I would be continuing to use that type of libraries, and I would get used to that. So if you could just get more people to start from a basis where they can realize this as one of the tools to be used. So it's the same as Victory said, where it's just, if you would put it on the university's website and get more students into it, then you could grow it from there.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Thanks, Lida. I guess your perspective is very helpful because you will potentially, you know, you are the target audience of that maybe Herman is trying to promote, right? Or to help, to educate, yeah. Or to get involved with, right? So I think your feedback will be very, very helpful and valuable. It's kind of like this, you know, in Mastermind, it's not regardless of our experience or knowledge level, you know, everybody has a different background and, you know, so context. So we can all be of help to each other. All right, so I guess, Herman, the first thing I thought about was involve some experts, you know, someone with a lot of experience. That is, you know, like an already accomplished open source developer. If you know anyone in person, I don't know if you know, then you probably should get them as your, you know, advisor, consultant, or consult on a regular basis. Because nothing beats, you know, experienced people, right? This is something I've learned the hard way many times. Yeah. Okay.
That's exactly what I thought when Victory started talking about marketing and communication. I'm like, that sounds like a good idea. I would be really bad with that. I should get an expert in that to help me set up a communications plan or something like that.
Exactly. That too, communication, yes. But not just communication, but also in terms of how do you develop open source software. Okay, try to find an experienced, accomplished, recognized open source hacker to invite him or her on board. Okay, I think that will help a lot. I do have a few hacker friends, so I'm thinking that maybe I can try to reach out and maybe see if they can offer some tips or, you know, feedbacks. Okay, Ingi, that's his name. He was actually the person, one of the co-author of the YAML format, YAML. You might have heard of that. That's kind of similar to JSON, YAML. He's actually one of the co-author of YAML. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Wow, cool.
Okay, Ingi.net. Okay, yeah, he's the biggest hacker I know. I mean, in terms of person, yeah. All right, so that's that. All right, so I hope that has been helpful to Herman. Okay, yeah. Okay, so maybe we can move to the next person. Okay, so who would like to go next?
I can go next. All right, so in terms of gains from the last month, I think the biggest one was sleeping early. I'm actually quite shocked as to how effective it is because I sleep relatively early and I wake up almost every day around 5. The latest I wake up is 6 o'clock, and that's when I'm being lazy. And that's quite surprising. I was surprised. I was really, I was blown away. I never thought it was possible. So I do wake up early. In terms of the book as well, I was able to get at least an hour 3 times a week, which makes a big difference. Hopefully I can increase that to 5 times a week, where just before I go to bed, I have like an hour where I just study, and then because I'm sort of halfway through a book, which is a book I've had for months now, without touching.
Excellent.
Anyways, as for oh yes, I think I forgot to plan. I was going to apply planning the day before, but I think I forgot that. But what I did was I have this checklist I have on this tool called Trello, where I just put everything I need to do there, and then I continue. I pick up where I left off the next day. It is relatively effective in terms of I don't feel like I've not finished my work before I go to bed. But then there's still a sense of maybe I can do more, or maybe I can do better. But in terms of the struggle, I think, or should I say, let me say, it's a bit of a strength that leads to a struggle. Momentum is good. I notice that when I have momentum, things happen. But the major challenge I face, I think, is the getting the fire started. Like starting the car. It's like you're starting a car, but then the acceleration part. I don't know if you know that vector. What's that graph now? That trapezium graph, where to get to that point where you're at full throttle, it's sort of difficult. So you sort of, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. Now I'll do it later tonight. Because I don't know. I think that's I'm trying to find answers for that. Yeah. So I think that's more or less it for me.
Get the engines going, right? Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Get the engines up and running. Okay. How do you jumpstart, right?
How do you jumpstart?
Mode,
exactly.
Right. Okay. All right.
Is there like a trick?
That's a valid question. All right. So I guess any feedback for Victory on this? Or you can ask clarifying questions as well, if you like to learn a bit more about what exactly is the nature or the context of this challenge, you can also ask questions.
So is it a situation that you start working on something and then when the next day, then you find that you don't have the momentum to keep on going with where you were, or?
No. So it's like before I start, it takes me a while to get into the should I say mood per se. For example, if I have a project, or should I say a certain task ahead, I have to do all these other things. Sometimes I have to go wash dishes or clean the house first before, almost like trying to get the engines rolling. And even that doesn't always work, but sometimes it works. But once I get started, I can go like full throttle and then go to bed and continue where I left off, until the task is finished. But then the big challenge is getting to that point.
Yeah, so what you're describing is...
Can I ask you? Oh, sorry, go ahead. Herman.
No, please, Union.
I was going to ask, can you give some examples of the task that's kind of you're having a challenge with? Can you give some examples? I'm just kind of curious, like what kind of things are we talking about?
The paper would be a perfect example, right? The paper, you have this plan ahead, and it's like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I know exactly what I need to do. And you maybe start 5 minutes, nothing is happening. 30 minutes, you're on your computer, you're trying to do ABC, nothing. You go to do some work, watch some plates and all that, right? But the moment I get started, like, oh yes, it has clicked, right? And then now it's almost like inspiration is sort of pouring down. Then you're sort of going at full speed, and it's almost like now it's interesting again, and now you can take advantage of the fire while it lasts before it goes away again. And I think that's a perfect example, in my opinion.
Okay. All right. Any feedback, I guess, to Victoria's? Herman, you like
to... So that is that other things that you do to avoid starting to do the thing that you should actually do. That is a common. Yeah, I've also found that the I mean, Shinyon previously mentioned that he works well. He works well on deadlines. To get, but you kind of have this resistance that you have to overcome to start working on it. Yeah, I guess the thing is you just have to tell yourself to sit down and start working on it and just get going. But because every other time that you've just sat down and started working on it, that's, the problem isn't doing the task. The problem is actually starting the task. That's the thing. Yeah. So I guess you need to think of, you need to figure out if you have habits that you do that work avoidance behavior. That's the word I was thinking of. What is the thing that you can, what is the things that what is your work avoidance behavior? And once you recognize that you're starting to do that, I guess that then I don't know if you can trick yourself into starting to work on it somehow. But I think if you can recognize that you're doing it already, that already helps you to overcome that. I don't know if Shinyon, if you.
Okay, yes, I do have some feedback, but I'd like to know if Alida has anything feedback for Victory.
So I completely understand your problem, because that was basically my entire year last year. And the best thing that worked for me, especially with this whole virtual, and there being so much distractions, like you can sit down for 10 seconds and then see the dishes aren't washed, or remember you have to do this or that, is that I tried to set times where I would normally, if I was on campus, go to the faculty and go and work from 8 till 2 or 8 till 1. And then just tell myself that when it's 8 o'clock, I'm going to have to be dressed and at my desk, and then I'm not technically at home anymore or in my environment anymore. So then you just focus on that. And then to start work, because I am terrible at getting past that first. So what I would usually do is I would set myself 2 or 3 tasks of things that I want to complete before 1 o'clock, or if I need to write an abstract or maybe an introduction, I would start, and then I would set out 30 minutes for one of these tasks. And if after 30 minutes I really feel that I didn't start with anything, or the work that I did wasn't worth anything, then I would scrap that and start with something else. Because otherwise what I would do is I would jump between 3 or 4 tasks, and then at the end of the day realize I didn't get anything done, rather than doing something for half an hour, realize I didn't get anything done on that and starting on something else. Because then at least I don't feel like I'm wasting my time. And if after 30 minutes I feel like I have something, then it's easier for me to from there move on, even if it's a horrible draft of something that I will probably never use. It's just that 30 minutes is kind of my starting, and it pushes me to do something, if that helps.
Okay, wow, that's kind of putting a deadline, right, into sort of in a compressed period. Having an earlier hard deadline. Yeah. Okay, thanks. All right, so Victory, this is Victory, I think he drops. It's okay.
Hopefully he'll be back soon.
About the best part, yeah. Okay, so maybe after he get back, I'll share the feedback. But essentially, it's again some basic, simple techniques. But just a feedback for Alida. It's I think called the boxed approach of time, where you kind of have different boxes of time that you do a particular thing for a box. And once done, you just put the box to the shelf and move the next box to work on it. It's very good. Also, it's very effective. One of my mentor, Darren Hardy, he's a professional CEO coach. That's how he does his time management as well. Okay, so he gets different things done by using a box approach. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I guess while waiting for Victory. Alida, would you like to go next?
I will try.
Okay. So you can share about maybe one of the big gains or learning of past month for you. Okay. and then you can share maybe one of the goals / challenge that you're facing. Yeah. All right. So go ahead.
My biggest gain this month was probably being able to get this master's and and it sounds very silly, especially with the it's kind of the exact opposite of the problem where I have been struggling this entire month to get something for my brain to do because I've been on vacation for 3 months and it feels like everything is sluggish and I can't remember how to study and it feels like I've lost 4 months. But a big gain is to have something to focus on again and be able to set out different blocks where I need to do this and study this. And it's very interesting for me to research and learn again because I enjoy researching quite a lot. So that would be my biggest gain. And then something I'm struggling with is just, again, starting with something new because it can be quite overwhelming to start with a new topic because there's so much information and you don't understand everything and it feels like I'm reading something and then I need to research something about what I'm reading, but to research that I need to research something else. So I just think being able to start somewhere and work from there to somewhere and feel like I know what I'm doing is my biggest challenge at the moment.
All right. So basically, seems like you are entering a new mode, right? From a mode of resting now to a mode of working. And
yes.
You like to know how you can start sort of engage with it, right? That's kind of the current challenge, right? In new areas, I guess, new place, new kind of lifestyle, work, right, schedule. Okay, all right. So Herman, any feedback?
Yeah, I guess so is it the overwhelmingness which is the challenge? So there's so much I need to learn, and then when you see everything, then it's like you don't know where to start, type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess the question there would be, or my advice there would be, yeah, I think it would probably be to set some kind of a short-term goals in terms of, it's maybe similar to that time boxing idea that you're using, where you basically say, okay, but if the only thing that I learned today is how, this type of networking works, then I've at least learned, I've read that, I've learned that. I don't have to worry about the rest because there's this small building block that I've now read up about and that I know about. Yeah, I think I've had similar feelings when you see all the publications like this. There's a week has gone by and there's 1,000 more papers, and you will never be able to read all of them, and you don't know if you miss one that is important. Yeah, so I guess maybe the setting the goals type of thing, and I think maybe the other thing that you could. Yeah, because you basically need now to determine what is the knowledge that it is that you need to gain. And I guess part of Shunyun and my position in terms of supervising you is also to help you basically set those boundaries of, at the moment, you don't need to worry about this part. You only need to worry about that part over here. Yeah, so I think there it would be important to get someone like a mentor, which is supposed to be supervisors, to help you say, don't worry about that now. It will only be important later on. But I guess communication will be important there because you will need to tell people that, okay, what you're doing now. I'm feeling overwhelmed by this information. What is the important part that I need to focus on?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is that all right, Alita?
That's
okay?
Good.
All right.
That's
okay.
good.
All right.
Thank you.
So I guess I can offer some experience sharing as well. Actually, there's this quote called "Start with the end in mind." Okay, I don't know if you've heard of it, but this comes from a book from Stephen Covey's book. The book is called "The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People." Okay, it's supposed to be you've heard of that? Okay, you're nodding. Okay, okay. So I think this is a very, very important, I guess, true feedback advice in a lot of ways, which is start with the end in mind. You know, if you know where endpoint is, you will be easier, a lot more easier for you to filter information, to choose your focus of energy, attention, okay, and to basically build towards that goal, okay. So I guess sharing about my, my background and history, it was when I started Master like you, okay, I actually had a very, very clear goal in mind, okay, which is I need to finish it as quickly as possible. Well, that's one thing. But then I also knew I wanted to do games, game research. And I want to figure out how to build a really large, massive virtual world that potentially can scale without boundary. Because, as I was saying, I sort of saw this future where, 10, 20, 30 years later with Moore's law, we can just put on glasses, right? And then have real life interactions. I kind of saw that when I was back in 2003, when I started my master, like in your shoes. And so if that's the future, and this is where we're currently at, there's a gap, right? Obviously. And I asked myself, what can I do, right? And I knew by the time, at that time, there were already a lot of graphics experts. Like graphics 3D engine was already a field quite established. There's very, very established work there. There's no way I can, like chase after and, like get caught up with what like John Carmack has done. But, he was the inventor of the first person shooter, John Carmack, with his games Doom and Quake. But having so many people within a space, like millions, tens of millions, even billions of people within the same virtual world, that's something that hasn't happened yet, right? The metaverse, which Herman was talking about. So that's my opportunity, right? So that might be something I can work on to see how we can build, such a system in a scalable way, potentially without limit. So that became my core interest, which is how do we build a virtual world that's, that can scale without limit. Okay, is it possible? Hosting millions, even billions of people at the same time. Okay, so because I had a very clear goal there, I was able to focus a lot of my studying into, how such systems have been built in the past and what are some limitations and, what can we do? So that became like very clear to me. So I guess my feedback is if you can spend some time, obviously, I think this has to be a sort of a silent quality alone by yourself kind of time, that you can really obviously talk to people will help, but think about like what interests you, and like what or what are you really curious or what would you really like to see to happen in this world, right? Something that maybe something you feel deeply about. Like in my youth, I started playing games when I was 7. So I always dream of, virtual worlds without boundaries and, you can explore it in these. So that kind of was my inspiration. Now, the other feedback, this is regarding how do you actually become a good researcher, okay? Or I don't know if you want to pursue the academic path or go into industry. Do you have ideas now or not yet? Like becoming academic?
Not really, but not currently to become academic, more in the field,
okay.
in research.
Okay, I see. So maybe more into like the industry, right? After getting your master. All right. So I guess this may not be but if you're thinking about how you can do great research, there's this paper, or actually it's a lecture called "You and Your Research" by Richard Hemming. Okay, this is the best. I think I would always advise people to have a look. You can Google it. You and Your Research. It's a talk he gave at, I think, 1988 at Bell Labs, essentially about how to do research. Yeah. So yeah, this maybe help. And I guess another feedback is to start really tiny. Okay. Just if you are unsure, you can start something small and see if you like it. Right? If you like it, enjoy that, then obviously you can expend more time and energy to expand further. And try lots of different small paths and ideas first, if you are yet unsure. Yeah, but essentially I found those are the two main approach. Yeah. So is Victory back now? Yeah.
I'm sorry if electricity went out.
Okay, it's fine. Alita's question was, she just started, and basically kind of overwhelmed, confused, not sure what to do, not sure, seems like a lot of things. And she just came from resting into now working, studying mode. So I guess any feedback for her you probably have
I
been
think the
there
advice I
before.
would give you is the first thing is number one, don't let the paper scare you. All right. All those things are big words, and sometimes they can be intimidating because you're seeing all those big words and big research. And so I wouldn't say forget about them, but just take it one step at a time, right? Like, what are the basic concepts, or what are the core concepts? I think that's what you basically want to find out first, what the core concepts are. And you'll be surprised at some of the core concepts you probably already did them in your undergraduate, level. They just use different words and different terminologies, but it's the same concept. So you just want to understand what the core concepts are, how they are all linked together, and what you need to do based on this core concepts. Then start looking at papers, and you can sort of find the information when you read the papers that, oh, this is what I need, or I don't know what this means, but I get it. But you don't want to start at the top, like top to bottom approach. Yeah, that's a big, yeah, no. Especially if you're coming from a different field. You don't want to start at the top. You just want to start at the basics, the core concepts. And once you have that, then you can start looking at the big papers. I hope that helped.
Thank you. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think always a fellow student.
Yeah.
Feedback would. It's probably closer to what you are at, right? Than what the advisors are saying. So. All right. Okay. So hope that helps. Okay. All right. Yeah. So Victory, actually, I haven't provided my feedback for you. Okay.
Yes,
just
please.
like to quickly. So regarding I guess the challenge of how to get yourself focused and get started, there's a technique I learned just recently. Maybe you'd like to try. It's called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. It's really, really simple. It's just, we like to procrastinate. But if you just start to count down in your mind, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. And you will do that, okay? Then it's actually a psychological hint, subconsciously. It's some people try that and they reported it's magic. I've tried to use that. Okay, so I'm just trying to. So maybe you can try that. Okay, because when the count comes up, you psychologically feel just do something. Okay, and the other thing is I guess ideas from tiny habits. Which is, if it's difficult to start, then find the smallest piece that you can do and just do it. Okay, like what's the smallest action for you to maybe get rolling? I don't know. That could mean like start up your computer, right? Okay, you open up the paper. Just do that and nothing more. Don't try to finish the whole the paragraph progress or whatever. Just fire up the application. And one thing that's kind of related to that for writers, and you're writing research papers, so you're a writer too in some sense, is to have the last unfinished sentence. They're like some writers intentionally, they don't finish their work like today. Like even if they have a good day and they write a lot, they will leave the last sentence unfinished. And the intention is so the next day when they start to look at the work, they see that unfinished sentence and they can easily finish that, you see? But that actually gets you into a work mode. So you can then start to continue to write. Okay, so I mean, you can experiment with different things, but I guess the idea is to do something tiny, and then make it easy for you to just start off. Okay. All right, so I guess that's my feedback. Okay, to how to get started. Start something small, and then you can come down if that helps. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I think there's a bit more time left. So I will share about my gains and also my challenge as well. So my gains last month, actually, I would say I have been living a pretty busy life for you know, the last a couple of decades or so. Yeah, and it's getting faster and faster. You know, it doesn't seem like it's getting improved. But I did find a very nice break this past month. One is by actually very accidentally, I started to listen audiobook of a book called The Art of Living. And this is, I don't know if you guys heard of this, but this is actually by a Vietnamese monk, Thich Nhat Hanh. Okay, I'm not sure if I pronounced that. Thich Nhat Hanh. Okay, it's a Vietnamese. I don't know if Herman heard of him. No. Okay, but you can Google if you're interested. The Art of Living, and I found his words to be very smoothing and peaceful. Okay, because I'm also learning study. I'm also a student of Buddhism. Okay, of learning the wisdom of Buddha. But I found his perspective to be very, you know, sort of practical and engaging, and learn to slow down, really, to take, like, there's this example of him of walking to a mountain in China, to, you know, going up a high mountain, maybe with 1,000 steps. He just, you know, like breathe in and take one step and breathe out and take the second step. Okay, so so you can imagine, like, he probably took a long time to the top of the mountain. And a lot of the passerbys were just like stunned and stop and look at him like, what this monk is doing, you know. But when he reached to the top, actually, he said he wasn't, you know, like most people after 1,000 steps will become very tired, right? We're panting and, you know, like all that. But he actually, you know, was still quite at ease, right? You can imagine if you just take like one breath and one step only, okay, even if it's 1,000 steps, then when you're reaching the top, you are still pretty at peace, okay? So, you know, I kind of and practice some breathing techniques as well. And this is something I learned, you know, if you are feeling, I can share with you guys too, if you are feeling nervous, emotional, anxious, stress anyway, the most easy, simplest energy technique to do is just a deep breath, you know, like this. Breathe in, breathe out. You can try this, breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Okay. So there, like, what do you feel if you have been doing alone? Okay. Okay. You feel maybe a bit more relaxed, right? And a bit calm, right? So, I mean, very, very simple things. That was actually very surprising to me. But yeah, I started to appreciate that besides doing, there's also value and virtue in the non-doing. Okay, in terms of when you're calming yourself and not doing anything and just give time for yourself. I think this is probably very important, yeah, in our time and age. And I guess the one thing that is facing me ahead, and kind of maybe some quick feedback, is I am involved in the industry startup work, but I'm also doing now, you know, work with Herman and Victory. This is more academic and educational. I am still, you know, trying to find what would be a great way to bridge the two. Okay. So that it becomes more of a one thing to me, because I can also share, I see myself as a quote unquote social entrepreneur. Okay, which means that although I am starting my companies doing business, but the ultimate goal and aim is not money, not cash, you know, not more profit, but really to you know, resolve some of the society's social problems, social challenge, social issue. And I see that as, you know, something that's going to be more and more important in the upcoming decades, right? As probably the challenge we face now is not enough material or not enough material comfort or goods, rather, you know, things like inequality, you know, environment, you know, like mental health, right? Right. all these issues, new issues. So they are more social by nature, okay, as opposed to simply how do you make things more faster, better, you know, things like that. So how can I like bridge the two more closely together? This is, I guess I like some feedback on, yeah. Or any thoughts?
Yeah, so I think I remember the first mastermind we did. I didn't really know what to expect, and it was not what I expected. And I think I think that that I appreciate is the fact that this is a moment that you can take away from all the other things that we tend to keep ourselves busy with, and to kind of refocus and say, but what is it that we actually want to do or to achieve? And I think I mean, that's one aspect I appreciate about you, Shunyun, that you keep that, like, you know, at the end of my life, what do I want to have say I have achieved? And that's not making a lot of money, but that's, you know, solving some societal problems, or, you know, by like you said, being a social entrepreneur. So yeah, I would actually say just keep on doing what you're doing. I guess with I guess with business as
Okay.
the same way that you have to, I mean, because I mean, in business, it's basically about you have to try a bunch of things and figure out what sticks to the wall. And I think with this, it's kind of the same thing. It's like, okay, and I can see you're trying a bunch of things and see, okay, is this working? Is this working? Is this working? And to see, you know, what is the thing that actually is going to stick to the wall. I do think that the 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 entrepreneurial and the viewpoint that you bring is very, otherwise we just focus on, okay, what's the technology or the paper or whatever, but okay, we kind of forget about, okay, but what is it for in the end, which I do think is an important part. Yeah, so I don't know if that's any
Thanks.
advice, but that might be some
That's very
encouragement.
encouraging.
Yeah.
That's a support.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
thanks. That was a very supportive feedback. Thanks. All right. I guess any other feedback?
Yes, I actually do agree with Professor Herman. Like with the mastermind, I remember the first one as well. It wasn't what, I don't think it was what anyone expected it to be. It was quite helpful. And you know, I do appreciate that, because I am learning quite a lot from the sessions as well. I've been more productive actually since we started these sessions. As to how you can bridge the two, I actually just thought of it now. What if you usually at a corporate workspace, or you know, at work, generally there's the working division.
Hi.
We might have lost
Okay.
him again.
You guys.
We're still here.
All right.
I think
Okay.
yeah, I think the connection is
Okay.
just bad because he's load shedding.
Okay. Okay. I see. All right. It's fine. All right. Oh yeah. Hi, Victory.
Yeah.
Back. Okay. Good. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yes, we can hear you. Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, my network is horrible here. So I was basically saying that, you know, have you considered having a research division, so you can actually put it part of your work list rather than it being something you do in your spare time, right? In fact, rather than just yourself, where you contribute to the well-being graduates or whatever we're going to call it. The only risk that comes with that, though, is there's a tendency to make it corporate. And once it goes corporate, it's difficult to be flexible. Once it's corporate, it's more like money, and so.
Okay. Oh yeah, Victory. Why? Maybe turn off the video. Turn off the video. Yeah, Victory. I'm thinking to save some bandwidth. Yeah, let's do that. Victory. Maybe
It
you can
becomes
turn off.
something you see.
Yeah, turn off the video. Maybe that will help. Yeah.
I was receiving a call.
Yeah, let's try it. Let's try that. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Like, I'm not really sure where I stopped, but I was basically saying, academy would be where there's at work, or should I say your company, sort of dedicates resources to academic, development or research per se. Those sessions can, not just the sessions, but even the one-on-one sessions as well can fall under that. So if you do have people that can also assist at work, maybe if the work becomes too much, it's not necessarily like a thing you do in your spare time. It's something that helps, basically helps people, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Okay. So are you saying that I mean how to combine is to, I guess, more of a cross overlap between the two? Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
So yeah, exactly. So the idea is, instead of it being something you do like in your spare time, or something you do when you get a chance, the idea is there's a whole division dedicated to just social I don't know, development. I'm
I
not really
see.
sure what to call
Okay.
it.
I see.
But yeah.
Okay. I see. Okay. All right. All right. So basically having more overlaps between the two, right? Between the two efforts. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks. I think I can think about that. All right. So thanks. And apologies because of the time. Yeah. Probably we need to wrap up now. Okay. Can you guys hear me still all right?
Perfect.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. So thanks for all the great discussion and feedback. So the way we are going to wrap this up is for everyone. Also, again, take turns, and please share one thing you learn and one thing you will do. Okay, like after this mastermind, because without learning and without doing, this is just talking, right? So please share what's the one thing, I guess the most valuable, important thing you've learned, and what's the one thing you intend to do or execute afterwards. Yeah, so that's start with Herman.
Cool. So I learned that I need to get some open source and community development experts to help me and get them on board with this project, so that we can, so that I have an expert that can help in basically figuring out how to set the long-term goal and grow this spatial web project.
Okay, so that is also what you will do. Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
Okay, all right, good, all right, okay. So for Victory, what's the biggest learning, and what is your next step doing?
So I think for me, the corner is I need to sort of identify my patterns of behavior when when I need to work. What are the what's the sequence of events that occur, and then first try to stop it. First identify, then try to stop it, and try to break down the tasks into tiny bits of work, such that if I get overwhelmed or anything, I just take it one by one, like switch on my computer, for example, and open Word, maybe something like that. Yeah.
So the thing you will do is to get something to do?
Yeah, so to identify
Okay.
my patterns, identify the behavior pattern, and try to apply the tiny habits approach.
Okay, all right, good, excellent. All right, thanks. All right, so for Alida, what I guess what is your biggest learning, and what's the one thing you will?
I think my biggest learning thing is just to focus on the core of the idea and see what interests me, so that when I get overwhelmed with all the papers and all the research, that I can just go back to the basics and focus on the single thing I want to get out of things. So start small and divide it into small chunks, just so that I don't lose focus. And then the thing that I will try and do is, Victoria has inspired me to maybe try and wake up a bit earlier, because I know I'm more productive. I know I'm a lot more productive in the mornings, but it's hard to get out of the habit of getting up early, because there's no one, because I don't have class, or because I don't have to go
I
somewhere.
see. Okay,
So
nice.
I think yes.
All right, check out Benjamin Hardy. Okay, I read his articles.
Yes.
You know, he's Benjamin Hardy. He wrote a lot about on this. Yeah. Okay. All right, thanks. So for me, the biggest learning today is I would say that the mastermind actually had its surprising benefits. Okay, and I think even with a it really works, you know, even with someone who just participating for the first time. Seems like it's helpful and useful and can engage directly. So and that there was some very positive feedback on this as well. So thanks. And I guess what I'll do is I think Victoria's feedback. Okay, so I think the one thing I'll do is I will reach out for the open source experts that I know. Okay, and see if they can provide some feedback or some advice in terms of how we can really do something that can reach out. Okay, so I guess that's the one thing I will do. Okay, all right. So I think with that, thank you all for participating in the March Mastermind session, and hope you all had enjoyed this, but more importantly, I mean, learn something useful from the sessions from each other, and also can take something into your life and work and really help it to get improved. Okay, all right. So I guess I'll see you guys in the next Tuesday, right? We will continue to have sync. And is Alida going to join us for the Thursday sync? I mean the Tuesday and Thursday sync?
I haven't spoken to her about that, but
okay,
yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
so maybe you can discuss about. Okay, yeah. I think it would be helpful if Alida can join just to see what it's like, and see maybe there's something she can start it to get involved.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It's 8 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Alida, using this link. So yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
No problem.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. So take care and have a great weekend. All right. And a
You
good
too.
rest. Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.